Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Bible study. I hope you're having a great day today. And today we'll continue our study of the attributes of God. In part three of our study, we talked about attributes that belong only to God or they are incommunicable. Today we'll talk about some communicable ones. These attributes of God, God has imparted on us. Let's take a look at a couple. We're going to be talking about His being faithful and just. He keeps His covenants, He's righteous and fair. We'll talk about his merciful, gracious. He is patient, forgiving, and compassionate. And we'll go into a little bit more detail on the Exodus passage as well here. So let's take a look at this. In Deuteronomy 7, verse 9, it says, knowing therefore that the Lord your God is God, he is faithful God, keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations for those who love him and keep his commandments. In Psalm 145, verse 7, it says, the Lord is righteous in all his ways and faithful in all he does. These verses highlight God's character as a perfectly just, fair, and loving in every action and every judgment. And the verse emphasizes that God's works are faithful. And some of the key notes out of here that God is righteous, he is faithful, he is holy, and he is a kindness. He is just full of kindness. God is faithful and merciful in all he does and providing comfort that his leadership is trustable, that we can trust his leadership. Let's take a look at some more attributes of God. Here in Exodus 34, verse 6, it says, and he passes in front of Moses proclaiming, the Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands, and forgiving wickedness, rebellion, and sin. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and their children for the sin of the parents and to the third and fourth generation. So, what is he saying here? This reveals God's character, defining him as compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness. And he proclaims his willingness to forgive the wicked, the rebellious, and the sinful, while affirming his justice, declaring he will not leave the guilty unpunished. There's a little proclamation here where he says, the Lord, he's talking, Yahweh is talking of himself, and it's emphasizing his personal covenantal name, which means he keeps his covenants. And it talks about his merciful nature. And God is described as slow to anger, immensely patient, and maintaining love for thousands of generations. But it also commands his justice and grace. While merciful, God is just. He will not leave the guilty unpunished, including consequences for sin that can affect the children to the third and fourth generation. And I think there's a lot of verses in the Bible that talk about this, and we could go, into like Numbers 14:18 and Psalm 103:7, where it talks about, God's character. And this verse is often repeated in those passages because he wants Israel to be reminded of his character and of his attributes. So, and this has been a great study so far, and we'll talk tomorrow and we'll talk about some more attributes of God.